gold blended with the blue and made this gorgeous emerald green. I am absolutely in love with this. Holy cow. This is so pretty. This looks like glass. This absolutely looks like blown glass. I am smitten. Smitten. Oh my gosh, this is the prettiest one I think I've ever made. Oh my gosh, you guys. So, so, so in love. Oh my gosh, look at that. I've been wanting to try this for a while. This is a mold that I got on Amazon. It is so the inside diameter is 14 inches. So normally when I make a bloom bowl, I use my flower mold, which is I think 14 inches, but I'm going to try making one out of this mold. So it's going to give me, I think, a little bit more of an abstract look when I go to mold it. And I may not even end up doing a bowl. I may end up doing something a little bit more, I don't know, abstract. But I need to figure out how many ounces this is because obviously I'm not going to fill it all the way to the top. So I'm going to pour some water in here and just kind of get an idea of how many ounces I need. And I'm going to pour it into this cup and just get an idea. Oops. Because I don't want to pour too much resin and make it too thick. So this is roughly 400 milliliters, and that's going to be good. I'm probably going to end up mixing a little bit more just to give me some options with color. So let's dry this real quick. I'm just gonna tap it. I'm not gonna wipe it with this paper towel because you can scratch your mold, and I don't want to scratch it because I maybe would use it for some kind of casting, like with flowers or whatnot. So that is pretty dry. And I'm going to use my mixer, which has been a great tool. And I'm going to use the Bond Crafter casting epoxy because I don't have any of the Let's Resin. So I'm going to use the Bond Crafter. And I have so many bottles that look alike. I accidentally mixed part A of the casting resin one time with part B of the deep pour, and that was a mess. So I'm going to do 300 ounces of both. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a popsicle stick and just scrape the sides and make sure all the sides are nice and mixed. That way I don't have any sticky spots. That's probably good. All right, so I am going to split this resin into 3 smaller cups, but then I also need a little bit of clear left. So I'm not going to split it evenly. I'm going to put the Let's Resin Ocean White pigment in 1 cup, but this is going to be my, not so much of that one. And then I'm going to use the KS Resin Turquoise Liquid Resin dye in this cup, and that's probably going to be the more dominant color. Maybe not that much because I do need white. So that, I'm not using my silicone mat. So I don't want to get resin too much on my table. And then in this cup, like I'm playing a shell game, and in this cup I'm going to put some of the Sesso gold mica powder. And then I need the white, or not the white, but the clear. So maybe a little bit more. I don't need as much of the clear, I don't think. So that should be enough. And I gotta work fast because even though this is a casting resin, you know, you can get a flash cure if it's too deep. So 3 drops of the white. You can get a flash cure, and what a flash cure is you, if you have too much resin too deep in a container, a cup or a mold or whatever, you've poured too deep, and that resin is not meant for a deep pour, the resin gets hot very, very quickly, and you will get a flash cure. You essentially will get the resin will cure in a much shorter time. It gets very, very hot. Let's do 3 good drops. It will get very, very hot. And I've ruined molds before because the resin gets so hot, it just deforms the mold. And the resin, once it cures, it can, melt your mold, and the resin becomes fused to your mold, and then you've lost your mold and wasted resin. And then in this cup is going to be the gold. And this is a really, really pretty color when it's mixed in. So this is probably a teaspoon. With this much resin, I definitely wanted a little bit more color. Making a mess here because I'm trying to go fast. I don't want to get a flash cure. And when you're using mica powder, you want to make sure you stir really, really well because the mica powder can get clumpy and it cannot mix in all the way. So you want to just make sure that you really, really get it mixed in well. Okay, I'm going to start with the blue. I'm going to pour the blue. I'm going to try to get a crackle. About half the blue. And this luscious gold. Let's pour some white. I'm just kind of layering it. I know I'm dripping, but it doesn't really matter in the end product. And then more gold. I don't want to waste any of this resin. Okay, I can already see it starting to blend together. This is really exciting. And I'm going to put the last of the white. It's messy. Look at this luscious color in here. So the gold, yellow and blue make green. So the gold and the blue are blending together and giving this amazing green mix right here. That might be way too much, but we're going with it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this, oh my God, I'm already in love with this. This is crazy. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my GoPro on time warp so that you can kind of see this all come together. Because what's going to happen as this cures, the natural inclination of the resin as it's curing and heating is to pull to the center. So hopefully you're going to start seeing this pull in and creating all the cool patterns in here. That's what I'm hoping. So I'm going to put a fresh battery in the GoPro and set it on time warp. Got a new fresh battery in here, but I don't know where this little wormy stuff is coming from, but I am so happy. Look at these little hurricanes here. All right, let's let this run. I let the resin cure for about 5 hours until it was still soft but not tacky, and then I demolded it. But of course, I forgot to hit the record button on the GoPro, so you'll just have to take my word for it that I was absolutely gobsmacked by how gorgeous it ended up being, and you'll see that in a minute. So when I demolded it, I used a shallow bowl to mold the shape, and the folds are not completely even, but I kind of like that. It just looks more abstract and more like a blown glass bowl. All right,
Now, this
sometimes
may
you
look
just gotta
silly,
get
but I
creative.
needed something a
I
little
think that'll
heavy
be
to
fine.
weigh down the center so it wouldn't pop up during the curing
Probably
process.
heavy enough. All
And
right,
I
so
just took
now I'm
a,
gonna
a
let this cure
full
overnight
a full
and
bottle
see what we come
of
back
Mod
with.
Podge. I know it
I'm
looks weird, but
really,
I used
really
a full
excited to
bottle
see
of Mod
this.
Podge, and then I set a piece of wood on top of the Mod Podge, and then a full bottle of resin on top of that, just to make sure everything was weighted down. I didn't want to use anything super heavy, but it needed to be heavy enough to keep the resin from popping up.
This has been sitting overnight, so it's been a full 24 hours since I first poured it. And I want to say, I forgot to mention, I took it out of the mold after about 5 hours. No, yeah, 5 hours. So I let it cure in the mold for 5 hours before I demolded it and put it in the bowl. And let's take it out. This is probably one of the prettiest color combinations I think I've ever done. I am so shocked. I shouldn't be shocked though. I really shouldn't be shocked. Let me get some more light in here. Because yellow and blue make green. And so that's what happened. The gold blended with the blue and made this gorgeous emerald green. I am absolutely in love with this. Holy cow. This is so pretty. This looks like glass. This absolutely looks like blown glass. I am smitten. Smitten. And I got really, really cool effects in the blue that crackled together with the white. But that was just the right amount of white, I think, to give some good definition, especially in the center. And oh my gosh, I am absolutely in love with this. I am so happy with this. So, this is just going to be like a little vase that you could put flowers in. You could use it on just a countertop like that, maybe. I don't know. I am in love. So now it's time to make another one. I think I want to make one a little bit bigger. I have a mold I think oh gosh, I think it's 24 inches maybe, or 18 inches, but oh my gosh, this is the prettiest one I think I've ever made. Oh my gosh, you guys. So, so, so in love. Oh my gosh, look at that. Wow. All right. So let me know in the comments what you think, and should I give this another go? I've got some ideas for the next one because remember I wasn't too careful when I dropped the resin in the layers and I had some that splattered. So I don't know, it's given me some ideas. So let me know what you think, and always make it a crafty day. Bye.